Hello, Eric Jolly and his daughter Ellie again. We wanted to read you a story called The Little Black Dog Buccaneer by J.B. Spooner. And Ellie will be reading most of the text, and I will be pretending to be a pirate and a New Englander because I grew up that way. So here we go.
It was winter in Vineyard Haven on the island of Martha's Vineyard. The tourist season was over, and Captain Douglas's schooner, the Shenandoah, was laid up till spring. The little black dog, the orphaned pup that Captain Douglas had taken in, was happily settled on their home overlooking the harbor. Captain Douglas and the little black dog belonged together. Whenever Captain went, he always wore his favorite blue hat and always had the little black dog at his side. Winter days slipped easily by, working in the boat shop by the warmth of the wood stove. Evenings were spent by the fire with friends. Ever since Captain was a boy, he loved stories about pirate ships and sunken treasure. And for him, a good sea story was still the best way to pass the cold winter night. He liked nothing better than lying around the fire, swapping sea stories with his crew while the little black dog lay close.
Where'd she get her name?
Asked Scotty, the first mate on the Shenandoah.
I named her after the pirate black dog in Treasure Island,
the captain explained. Throughout the winter, as the little black dog grew, so did her spirit of adventure. She learned how to jump up on the kitchen door and raise the latch with her two front paws. This meant she could come home and she could come and go as she pleased, and she did. She made friends easily and soon had a regular route about town. Early in the morning, she would head down the steamboat dock to see her friend Bernie. Then on the way to C.B. Stark's storefront for a visit with Grace Duffy. After a quick tour through the A&P, she strolled up Main Street, getting a smile from Anne at the bookstore and a pat from Shirley at the hardware store. Bruce and Brandy at the flea market often introduced her to their customers, and David, the checkout clerk at Crowe's Market, always had a treat waiting for her. On her way home, she cut through Sally Knight's yard on the chance that another soup bone was being tossed out.
Here's a map of all the places he went.
But the little black dog was more than just a friendly sailor in the friendly port. Most of all, she loved to search for buried treasure. And she looked for it all over town. She found jewels at the fish market, silver at the school playground, treasure at the town hall, and gold at the town dock.
Looks to me like he's playing in a trash can a lot.
Yeah. And when she discovered buried treasure, she also found the dog officer. At first, John Rogers tried to change her pirating ways, but he soon gave up. Searching for buried treasure came as naturally to her as scratching an itch. Whenever he saw her, he would stop his own car and open the door. She would drop whatever she was doing and hop in to be escorted home.
And here she is jumping into the town of Tisbury animal control vehicle. That's on Martha's Vineyard.
Yep. As spring approached, the days grew longer. The captain and his crew had many chores to do to get ready for the coming summer. Splicing lines of varnishing blocks, painting the yawl boat. Soon it was time to take the Shenandoah to Kelly's shipyard in Fairhaven to be fitted out for season. She was towed there by the tugboat Jaguar. Black Dog liked to ride in the pilot house with Charlie, the skipper of the tug. She sat in the skipper's chair and stuck her head out the window.
Sailing her ears.
the crew would call it. At Kelly's shipyard, Charlie moved the Shenandoah alongside the wharf, where she was ready to be hauled out of the water. Once the schooner was up on the railway, it took at least a week to scrape and paint the bottom. The captain examined her hull plank by plank. The little black dog couldn't get up and down by the ladder herself. She barked to be carried up, and she barked to be carried down. When the Shenandoah was back in the water, the little black dog was able to come and go on her own. While the captain and crew painted the topsides and varnished all the bright work, she settled into a routine. She had discovered there was one thing every seaport had in common. They all had buried treasure, and she was just the clever pirate to find it. Each time she returned, she brought some treasure back with her, and the crew began logging her bounty. First she brought a leaf, then an old wooden chisel, then some sandpaper, sunglasses, an old watch cap. One day she came back carrying a bright red bandana, wagging her tail in delight.
She's a pirate in the making. Mark my words, said the bosun with a grin. And the Shenandoah is going to be known as a pirate ship.
On the last night at the boatyard, as Captain Douglas and his crew were getting ready to go on the driftwood for a bowl of choutwood, a policeman stood on the dock.
You Captain Douglas? Yes, sir. What can I do for you? Your dog?
The officer asked, pointing to his car. In the back seat sat the little dog.
Caught it with a whole chicken, package and all,
said the policeman with a chuckle.
When I stopped my car, she came right over and jumped in. I read her tag and called John Rogers in Vineyard Haven. Seems they're old friends. Rogers said, no need to look up a number. If you have a little black dog from Vineyard Haven looting in your town, then you have a big white topsail schooner somewhere in your harbor. It's our little black Buccaneer,
laughed the crew.
Maybe I shouldn't have named her after the pirate in Treasure Island,
said Captain Douglas. He turned to the officer.
I'd be happy to pay for the chicken,
he said.
No need. Just keep your pirate there under control,
replied the officer.
It's a good thing we're leaving or you'd end up in the brig,
the captain scolded. Next morning, Charlie and the tug Jaguar helped the Shenandoah get underway early. They towed her to the Vineyard Sound, where she had a fair breeze and a fair tide.
Okay, let her go,
hollered Charlie as they dropped the hawser and waved goodbye. The captain was happy to be heading home. His crew was eager to be sailing again. The hardest work of the season was behind them, and the little black Buccaneer had escaped the pound. The captain left Scotty at the wheel and went forward to inspect his vessel. A gust of wind whipped off his hat and lofted it into the air. His favorite hat. Suddenly the sails were backing and the vessel was coming about.
What's happening?
Yelled the captain. He hadn't given any orders to tack. Scotty was pointing to something off the stern. The captain squinted in that direction. It was the little black dog. Her head was bobbing in the waves, barely a speck in the water.
Dog overboard!
Scotty yelled. The crew lowered the yawl boat. The captain jumped aboard and headed off the starboard quarter. The little black dog was swimming furiously toward the schooner, looking very tired and very scared. As soon as the captain reached her, he scooped her out of the water. She had something in her mouth.
That is going to be a wet dog.
Yeah. It was his favorite hat, clenched firmly in her teeth. He held her in his arms and headed back to the schooner. The crew cheered as the captain handed her over the side. They passed her from arm to arm, each giving her an affectionate pat. She was cold and shivering, but wagging her tail.
Well,
said the captain as he climbed back aboard and proudly held up her latest bounty.
maybe her treasure hunting comes in handy after all. And that is the end. And I'm Eric, and you are?
Eliana.
And thanks for reading with us.